Hello everybody and welcome. This is the Shy Hat and we're doing HackerFrogs AfterSchool web app hacking workshop number, it should be workshop number 4. I don't know, I'm going to have to update the document after this. Everybody, hello, and I hope everybody had a great weekend. It is unfortunately Monday, but the great thing is that we can spend some time together and we can learn about web app hacking together. So without further ado, I'd like to say hello to our good friends Ilhan Idris and to Hachi. I hope you are all having a lot of fun doing the PicoCTF challenges because the event is going to be ending on Tuesday, which is tomorrow. But the good thing is that I've been told that the challenges will be made public and we're going to be able to do a review stream for PicoCTF on Wednesday of this week. And during that stream, we're going to be looking over the different solutions for all of the different challenges. It's going to be a good old time. All right, so let's take a look at let's start today's session. So what did we learn in the previous workshop? This is the fourth, this should say the fourth workshop for Intro to Web App Hacking. Let's take a few moments to review the concepts we learned in the previous workshop. We learned about source code analysis. It's the process of analyzing the code of a piece of software with the goal of deeper understanding regarding its function. So it is a common technique used in software security testing, but it requires the software source code be readily available. And we also learned about OS command injection. OS command injection is a web app vulnerability where arbitrary OS commands can be performed on the web server through a web interface. OS command injection can often lead to complete compromise of the web server, and if so, the server can be used as a foothold to attack other machines on the network. So, today's topic, let's move on to the topic of this workshop, the SQL database language, also called SQL. So what is SQL? Structured Query Language, otherwise known as SQL or SQL, is a programming language used for managing data held in relational databases. Simply put, SQL allows users to access and manage data contained in relational databases, which are common components in most web applications. So as far as web app hacking is concerned, insecure implementations of SQL in web apps can lead to a very serious vulnerability called SQL injection or SQL injection. We will learn about SQL injection in a later workshop, but we should first learn how to use SQL in its intended manner before we learn how to abuse it. So let's learn SQL through a game. So in the web browser, we're going to navigate to the following URL. So it's going to be this URL right here, and I'll paste it in the chat for everybody to access. So before we move on with the game, we're going to talk a little bit about the structure of a SQL database. So SQL database structure, the largest unit in the SQL system is the database. So this is a visual representation of all of the tables in the database that we're going to be accessing today. So the SQL database is made up of a bunch of different tables that are all connected to each other through some different columns. So Ilhan Idris says that's called ERD. That's correct. So this is what is called the ERD or Entity Relationship Diagram, I do believe. Sorry about that. So these are what are known as tables in the SQL database. Tables themselves are made up of two elements. So we have a table right here. There are two elements to this table. There are columns, so these are the names of columns right here, ID, name, license ID, address, and etc. So columns whose names identify the data that should be entered into them. And the other thing that tables are made out of are called rows, which contain data entries that correspond to the columns that they fall under. So inside of the column ID, we have 1, 2, 3 different rows over here, which correspond with different names, license IDs. So these are the columns, and these are the rows which have different data entered into them. Okay? So the first thing we're going to learn about the SQL language is the select command. The select command is the most common SQL command, which returns SQL entries depending on what additional parameters are provided. Okay, so at this point we can go over to the mystery.night labs webpage over here, which is called the... Oh, thank you very much for following DevilMind, and nice to see you. All right, so yeah, DevilMind, we're learning about the SQL database language right now. You might know a little bit about it, but we're going to be running through this exercise right here, the SQL murder mystery, in order to learn a little bit more about it. Hello, DevilMind, nice to see you. If you want to play along with us, I submitted the link for this webpage in the chat. Okay, so what are we doing in this game? So a crime has taken place and the detective needs your help. The detective gave you the crime scene report, but you somehow lost it. You vaguely remember that the crime was a murder that occurred sometime on January 15th, 2018, and it took place in SQL City. We're going to start by retrieving the corresponding crime scene report from the police department's database. So Ilhan just says, I used SQL a lot when I was an intern back then. Oh, nice to hear. So you might be ahead of the curve as far as learning in today's workshop. Okay, so basically, like we saw in the previous slides, this is the database we're going to be searching inside of. So the entire database is made up of these tables right here. We've got GetFitNow check-in, we've got interview, GetFitNow member, person, driver's license. So the database that we're working with actually has a lot of entries in it. So there's maybe something in the neighborhood of like 10,000 entries in the database. So it's important that we're able to use SQL to navigate around this database in an efficient manner. So we're talking about what is a query. So the most basic query uses the select command over here. So select count, this is a function inside of SQL, and it's going to return the number of rows from person. So select count, so select and from, and table names, these are very important things to understand when we're working with SQL. So if we run this command right here, select count function, and the asterisk right here stands for all from person, and we run this, we're going to get, we're going to see the result is count, the name. So count is, in this case, is the name of the column. It's actually a function, and it says that there are 10,011 entries in here. Okay, so let's go back and talk a little bit about these SQL keywords. So we use the select command, and we also use the from command. So the from command specifies which table to retrieve data from. So from person means that we're searching inside of the person table over here, and we're selecting the count from there. So the SQL count function will return a number of entries in the specified column. So count, and then we get the result, and that there are about 10,000 rows in this column. So the next thing we're going to learn about is the limit filter. The limit filter restricts the number of entries returned to the number specified. So in this case, we have this, this command right here, select star, and in this case, star means all columns. So select all columns, star, from the person table, but we're going to limit it to 2 rows. So it's going to return the first 2 rows only. So we see when we give this command here, it returns 2 entries under the person table, which is made up of these different columns, and it returns this different information in the database. So if we go back, okay. So here we're investigating a different thing. So let's go back here. So we're also talking about the wildcard character. So the wildcard character we see in here, the wildcard character can be used in the place of column names in a SQL entry and a SQL query, and represents all columns in the specified table. So we use this a lot. So select star all columns from this specific table. So the next thing was covered in the next section. We cover the distinct clause. So in this case, we select distinct type from crime report. The distinct clause will restrict the number of results returned by the query so that there will be no duplicate values. So select distinct type from crime scene report. So type in the crime scene report table is the type of crime which we're dealing with, right? So we go back and we select distinct type from crime scene report. We're going to run this, and we see the different types of crimes that are included in the crime scene report. So we see robbery, murder, theft, fraud, arson, bribery, assault, smuggling, blackmail. These are the different types of crimes inside of this table over here. But if we don't specify distinct and just select type from crime scene report, we're going to see the type of crime associated with everything in the crime scene report, but there are going to be a lot of duplicate entries. So if we run this, we see basically just the type for all the entries in the rows, but there are a lot of different duplicate entries right there. So we'll reset this, and then in the next section we learn about the where filter. So the where filter is a very important filter when we're talking about SQL, because it is the most common SQL filter, and it restricts the results that are returned according to the arguments that are given to it. Okay, so if we do select all columns from the person table, we can restrict what is returned to us by using the where filter, and where the name, so the column name, is equal to Kinsey Erickson. So just like this right here, and it's going to return only a single entry over here. So this is how we hone in. This is how we hone in on some exact data that we're getting back from the database. So this is where we encountered this one right here. So if we were to run this, then we get all the information for Kinsey Erickson from the person table. So in this case, we get the address number, the address street name, the SSN. We have to understand that this is all fiction, so we're not dealing with real people in this case, which is good to know, because we'd hate to think that everybody has access to actual people's information from this public webpage. Okay, so that's the where filter. So the equal operator. So the equal operator is used with the where filter to return exact matches. If the contents of a row differ by even a single character, the match will not return. So in this case, there's no data returned because the capitalization of this name right here is incorrect. So if we were to go here, and we were to do Kinsey Erickson, but let's do Erickson with a small e, and then we're to run this, then there's no data returned because there's no such name as Kinsey Erickson with a small e in this database. Okay. So next we'll deal with the AND clause. So the AND clause is used with the where filter to further restrict the results returned, only returning rows that match both parameters on either side of the AND clause. Okay, so in this case here, We're going to select a person where the name is John Dial right here, but the address street name also has to be Icehouse Avenue. So in this case, it works because that is where this person lives. Let's go back to let's see. So this one is John Dial, right? I don't think I. So John Dial and what was it? Address street name is Icehouse Avenue. Oh, one thing that we have to keep in mind is that inside of SQL queries, we have to end all of our statements with a semicolon over here. If we don't use a semicolon, then it's going to error out. In some cases, this is it's going to fill in the semicolon for us. But if we do multi-line queries like this, then it's probably not going to. So we see that because the name is John Dial and the street address name is Icehouse Avenue, then this row returns. But if we switch it out to just Icehouse, that's not the exact entry right here. So it's going to return no data. Okay. All right, so I know that there's a lot of this stuff to get through, but we have to understand how all of the different components of SQL work before we start solving the mystery. So please bear in mind with us. So the next thing we're going to learn is about the like operator and the % wildcard character. Okay, so in this case, we're going to select select star all columns from person where the name is like John with the wildcards right here, and the street address is like Icehouse something something. So the like operator is used with the percentage wildcard characters to return partial matches. The % symbol matches any characters on its respective side of the string. So we can try this out over here. So like replaces where in the query. Actually, no, it doesn't replace where. It replaces the equal sign. Sorry about that. So where the name is like John, where is that percentage symbol? Here it is. So if we were to do something like this, so select star from person where name like John, that's going to return every entry where the person's name is John, or the name John appears somewhere in the name. So this might actually match to last names as well, like names like Johnson and such. If we're to run this, we get a lot of different entries right here. So John, Johnny, 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 Catter, John. So this matches to the end of the name right here. So that's the like operator. Okay, so next we're going to deal with a couple of functions, the upper and lower functions. So the SQL upper and lower functions are used to render output in all uppercase or lowercase letters, respectively. Okay, so if we select upper name and lower name from person, where the name equal to Kinsey Erickson, then we're going to get Kinsey Erickson in all uppercase and Kinsey Erickson in all lowercase. So the interesting thing about this particular function, both the upper and the lower, is that it can be used in the where portion of a query to match results where the capitalization of a search term is unknown. So if we don't know, if for some reason we wanted to match all cases of Kinsey Erickson, no matter if the letters are uppercase or lowercase or whatever, then we can select where lower name is equal to this right here. And that's an interesting way of getting around scenarios, cases where we don't know the capitalization of a particular string. Okay, next we're going to talk about the sum function. The sum function is used to return the sum of all entries in a specified column. This is more useful in when we're dealing with arithmetic and when we want to return the number amounts. It's more of an accounting kind of function, really. But if we were to sum up the ages of all the entries in the driver's license table, then it would take the ages of everybody in the database and add them all up. So let's go back to the web page. So in here we've got a scenario where we select star from crime scene report, where the type is equal to theft and the city is equal to Chicago. Okay, so this wants us to. This is for when we want to get on with the game. Okay, so before that, there's a couple of more things we need to go over. Okay, so these next ones are math functions. So there's the sum function, which adds up everything in the columns. The average functions, which gives us the average of all of the things inside the columns. Sorry, the rows. The average function is used to return the average value of all entries in a specified column. The max and min functions over here are used to return either the maximum or minimum values of a specified column, respectively. So if we wanted to know the oldest person from the driver's license table, we could use max from driver's license, and it gives us the max age in this case from that particular table. And is this the last one? Okay, there's a couple more and then we can get on with the game. So the order by keyword. So the order by keyword is used to return rows in ascending order, A to Z, or small to large numbers, depending on the name of the column provided. So we've got select all from driver's license, order by ID. So in this case, we're going to order by the ID number over here. So order by ID ascending. So it's going to this one should be first if we're going by ascend. Oh, it counts up, right? So as we go down, it goes up. Okay, great. And the last one is the ascending and descending keywords. So the ascending and descending keywords are used with the order by keyword to return rows in ascending or descending order, respectively. So this goes in ascending order because we use the ASC keyword, but if we used DESC, then it would be counting down. Okay, so we're going to obtain the crime report. So this is where you guys can join in. So we know that the type of crime is murder. The date of the crime was January 15th, 2028, which is this number right here. And the city was SQL City. We're going to use this information and obtain the info from the crime scene report. Okay, so everybody, please scroll down to this box right here, select star from crime scene report, and what I want you to do is I want you to create your own query, which returns the crime scene report for SQL City, where the type of crime is murder, and the date of the crime is this date right here. Okay, so everybody give it a go inside of the web page, and if you manage to do so, please type some OS frogs or smileys in chat, so I know that you managed to do it. So this is the OS frog, and this is the smiley. So the OS frog is a Twitch only emote, so people on YouTube aren't going to be able to see it, unfortunately. Okay, so remember, the type of the crime is murder. The date of the crime is this date right here. 20180115, and the city is SQL City. If you're able to get the crime scene report, please type a smiley in the chat so we know that you've accomplished it. Okay, we've got some smileys from Devilmind. Good to see. Good to see. By the way, Devilmind, did you get a chance to take a look at the Pico CTF, event? Did you sign up and do some challenges over there? We've been having a lot of fun over the last couple weeks, solving those challenges over at Pico CTF. Okay, so let's go back to the webpage. So we're going to select star from crime scene report, where type is equal to murder, and the city is going to be SQL City. Okay, and we're going to run that. Okay, and Hachi has also completed the exercise. Thank you, Hachi. Okay, so we see the murders here: redacted, redacted, redacted. And we also see someone killed the guard. He took an arrow to the knee. That's a reference to Skyrim, I think. And the last one is security footage shows that there were 2 witnesses. The first witness lives at the last house on Northwestern Drive, and the second witness, named Annabelle, lives somewhere on Franklin Avenue. Okay, so this is information we can use to identify the murderer, but first we have to get the testimony. Sorry, the interview information from the 2 witnesses, right? So let's go back. So we used this particular string in the SQL program. I'll just paste it in chat. I hope this doesn't get mangled when I paste it in chat. Looks like it's okay. Okay, so now that we know one of the witnesses lives at the last address on Northwestern Drive, and another, whose name is Annabelle, lives on Franklin Avenue, we're going to send 1 or 2 queries to the SQL database person table to obtain the full names of the witnesses. So this is the first thing we need to know. Remember, we have to use partial matches, such as name, like, example over here, in order to get these okay, so what we want to do is we want to identify the witnesses and get their information. So we're going to send, so we can do this as a single SQL query, or we can use 2 SQL queries to get the information. So if you're able to get the full names of the person who lives on the last address on Northwestern Drive, or the name of the person whose first or last name we don't know is Annabelle and lives on Franklin Avenue, please type the full names of the people in the chat so we know that so I know that you guys have answered the question. So I'm going to copy all of this over here and leave it in chat so you guys can look at it, just in case you wanted to reference this information when you were making your SQL queries. So I'm going to go back here, and we can do it from one of these over here. Okay, so we would start with the select star from person. So select star from person where, this is the start of the query right here. So another thing we have to understand when we go up to the person table here is that we probably want to use this value right here. So it's address street name or address number. So I'm going to type that in the chat so you guys. Address number and address street name. So for address number, we probably want to go in descending order since we're trying to look for the last house. So address number, last house, and also the address street name has to be whatever it is that we're looking for. I can't remember. So address. So we're address street name. So we're looking for the person on Northwestern Avenue first, right? Oh, Northwestern Drive, rather. And order by address number descending. So I do believe that this is going to get us the person who lives on the last house on Northwestern Drive. So we're also going to put a limit on this, just so it returns the first one. So I'll paste this in chat. So if we were to run this, no, it's address street name. Okay, let's run it again. Okay, so this is the name of one of the witnesses right here. So this is the person who lives on the last address on Northwestern Drive is Morty Shapiro right here. I'll just paste this in chat for y'all. And the other witness is Annabelle and lives on Franklin Avenue. So if we're to adjust this, where address street name is equal to not Northwestern Drive, but Franklin Avenue, and the name is going to be like Is that how we spell Annabelle? Okay, so the thing is that we have to, when we use a like operator, we have to include the percentage wildcards. So the percentage wildcards, just to be sure, we're going to put the percentage wildcards on both sides of Annabelle over here. So Annabelle might be a first name or Annabelle might be a last name, but this will return both cases. And Hachi says the name of the person is Annabelle Miller. Okay, let's double check that. Oh. We have to put and, right. So we need the and here. So let's run this again. I'll paste this in chat for everybody. That's some quick work, Hachi. Okay, and so this does return to us Annabelle Miller, and so we have to know the full names of both of the witnesses before we can get the interview information from them. All right, good job, Hachi. Okay, So let's move on. Okay, so this is the query that we use to get the first name. Order by address number descending limit 1. And the other query was select all from where the name is like Annabelle and address name is Franklin Avenue. Okay. So now that we have the witness names, we can make a query with data from both the person and the interview tables. But before we do that, we have to learn about a few more SQL keywords. So now we're going to learn about how to join SQL queries from different tables. And so we have to learn about join queries. So join queries are queries that include information from more than one table. So in this case, we're selecting person.name. So we can, inside of SQL, we can reference the table name and then the column name in the same string. So person.name is the name column from the person table. And also income.annual income, which is annual income column from the income table. So from income, join person on this income.ssn equals person.ssn. We'll explain this in just a little bit. So here we're selecting data from both the person table and the income table. To do so, the join clause must be used. When returned, the query incorporates search criteria from both the income and person tables. So we see here that the name is from the person table and the annual income is from the income table. So one important thing to notice is the on clause over here, the on clause, line 4, which provides the system with the columns which connect the tables involved in the query. So because we're using information from both the income table and the person table, we have to include the names of the columns where the two tables are connected. So inside of the database, if two columns are connected, you're going to be able to see a key over here and then an arrow sign over here, which indicates that the columns, that the tables are connected through the corresponding columns. So this table right here, getFitNowMember, is connected to the person table over here through the person_ID column, and in the person table, it's going to be called just the ID. So this is where these two columns are connected. From the person to the driver's license tables over here, the driver's license ID column is connected to the ID column in the driver's license table over here. So this is known as the primary and foreign key. The connecting columns are called the primary and foreign key columns, and the columns are connected through the relational nature of SQL systems. So we're talking about relational databases. The interesting thing about SQL databases, SQL databases, is that they're all relational databases. They're databases where data in one table in the database can be connected to data in another table in the database. In this database, the getFitNow check-in table and the getFitNow table are related through the membership ID and ID columns respectively. Okay. So in this relationship, the ID column is the primary key and the membership ID column is the foreign key. So the last thing we have to learn about before we move on with the exercise is the OR clause. The OR clause is another clause we can use with the where filter, and it returns entries if a match is found for either of the two conditions on either side of it. So in this case, we're using the OR clause here. We're going to return all of the rows from the person table where the name is Kinsey Erickson, or the name is, John Dial, and it returns both of these rows here because the OR clause is used. Okay, so now that we know about how to do that, you know what? We should probably practice a little bit before we move on. Ilhan Idris says it's like the ampersand, and double pipe in programming. That's correct. It's exactly like that. One more thing that we have to understand is that SQL also supports numeric comparisons like less than and greater than, and we can also use the keywords between and as well as numbers. So in this case, we can do between W and Z to return everything between those two letters, right? There's a lot of stuff here. Now that we know about SQL to identify the two witnesses, give it a try. Okay, so we've already done this. So, okay, so here, select person name, person.name, income.annual income, from income, join person on these two columns right here, where the annual income is greater than 450,000. So when we come down here, we can run this, and we can get a little feel for how join queries are used. Wired Me IRL says, "Hi, I'm autistic. Love your content." Well, I'm glad to hear you like the content. Yeah, if you want to learn about some basic cybersecurity, you can always visit the Chai Hat YouTube channel, which is this right here, and we have all the materials that we cover inside of our workshops over here, including the materials for the workshop we're doing right now. So if we were to run this, then we get information from both the person. We're getting a person.name as well as annual income from the income table, and we get results that incorporate both of these tables. Wired Me IRL says, "You are like a free professor of web security." Yeah, that's exactly what I am. I'm trying to provide cybersecurity education content for free, and yeah, I want everybody to be able to learn. All right, so okay. So over here we have a more complicated. You're so cool. Well, thank you very much. I hope you can learn a lot while you're here. So we have a more complicated example of using join queries over here. So we're going to get the name and the annual income as income. So another thing we can do is we can set what are these called again? Are they called pseudonyms? They're called, what is it called when you substitute one name for another name? Oh, they're called aliases. It's right here. Okay, so you can also set aliases inside of SQL queries, just in case you don't want to type out the same thing over and over again. So in this case, we're setting annual income as income. So anytime we use income in our query, we're actually referencing annual income over here. Okay, so here we're going to get name and annual income, as well as gender, eye color, and hair color. And we're going to connect income as well as person, and we're going to join them on these columns right here, and we're going to join this as well. In this case, we're joining three. We're joining three different tables. We're joining person as well as we're joining person, income, and driver's license. So for each additional table that we're incorporating, what is join for? Join is when you want to incorporate more than one table inside of a query. So for each one of these, we have to identify which columns the tables are connected by. So on i.ssn.p.ssn, just like this. And we have to identify them. In this case, we would identify them through the ERD, the entity relationship diagram, which is this right here. And this tells you which tables are connected to which other tables through which columns. Okay, so all right. We're gonna get to the crime solving very soon. Okay, so if we were to run this, we see that we've incorporated information from three different tables inside of a single query, and we get this back right here. Okay, so now that we know how to join the tables, we should be able to find the interview transcripts for the two witnesses you've identified before. Give it a try. Okay, we're going to write a query that shows the interview transcripts for the two subjects. Let's see. So WiredMeIRL says SQL looks like Obsidian or very big diagrams. SQL's its own thing, but yeah, you could see it kind of like Obsidian, because in Obsidian, different files are all connected to each other by kind of like a network, right? Kind of like a web. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so we're going to review the interview transcripts. So we need to select the person.name and the interview.transcript columns, and we're going to join the two on the interview.personid and person.id columns. And remember, the name is either Annabelle Miller or Morty Shapiro. So I'm going to paste this into the chat. And I want you to try to create the SQL queries that return the interview transcripts. So we're going to select person.name and interview.transcript. Okay, so for everybody here, try to get the interview transcripts by writing your own SQL queries. If you're able to do so successfully, please type some smileys in the chat so we know that you've accomplished this. Just like this, they could be any smileys. I like all the smileys, maybe this one, maybe these ones. Yeah, okay. So select person.name and interview.transcript, and we need to join is this the way we do it? Let me double check. Hold on, everyone. It's okay. We're all learning here. So if you didn't pay too much attention, you can catch back up. I'm pretty sure. let me just... okay. So we don't do and in this case when we do select. We're going to use this, what is this, comma right here. So we're going to do from person. So from person, and then we need to join. Join interview. Because we need the person table and the interview table, we're going to do from person, but we're going to join interview. Whoops, what do we got? On. So person and interview, we need to take a look at this up here. So person and interview. So in interview, it's the person underscore ID column, and in the person table, it's the ID column. Okay. Let's go back down. Okay. So what is it? Interview person underscore ID. Let's see. Oh, Hachi got it. Good job, Hachi. Okay, so Wired Me IRL says, oh, ID. What is ID exactly? So it's, oh, something, I'm gonna have to reload this. Okay, let's go back down. And okay, so because we're running out of time and I don't want to go too far over time, I'm just going to paste in the correct answer, which is this right here. So it's select person name interview transcript from person interview on interview.person equals person ID, where the name is Annabelle Miller or the name is equal to Morty Shapiro. And this is going to return the interview transcripts from both of these people. And when we run it, we get the transcripts from both of these people over here. So the transcript here says, I heard a gunshot and then saw a man run out. He had a Get Fit Now gym bag. The membership number on the bag started with 48Z. Only gold members have those bags. The man got into a car with a plate that included H42W. Okay, so that's a lot of information about the murderer. And the next one is Annabelle Miller. I saw the murder happen and I recognized the killer from my gym where I was working out last week on January the 9th. So from this one, we only get the date that the murder happened. Wired Me IRL says it's the like filter in Excel. Are you talking about ID or are you talking about like? I'm not too sure what you're talking about in this case. So we've got a bunch of different details about the murderer. So we obtained the following information about the murderer from the witnesses. So the suspect is male. We got, he has a Get Fit Now gym bag and is a gold member. The gym membership number starts with 4048Z, and the suspect's license plate number contains the string H42W, and the suspect was at the gym on January 9th, which is this in this database. Okay. So this is where it gets a little bit complicated. We have to make all the join queries, and we need to know which table and columns are involved. Okay, so the suspect is male, which is the person table and the name column. They're a GetFitNow Gold member, which is GetFitNow member, membership status. Membership status equals gold in this case. The gym membership starts with the number 48Z, which is getfitnowmember.id. The join, does it show where it is correlated, like Dorothy interview Dorothy? So join means that we're joining the data from two different tables. And if we're joining information about two different tables, we have to understand which tables are connected by looking at the diagram over here. So person.id, person ID over here, and ID over here are what link these two tables. So that's what we do. We have to join on a specific two specific columns. That's how that works. Okay, so we have all this information right here, and I'll copy it for you all to reference while we're solving this exercise. So this workshop might go a little longer than usual. I hope everybody's not too pressed for time. So in the case of GetFitNow member and the person tables, they're connected by these two columns. I'll be pasting these in chat, so you don't have to look these up. So when we're talking about GetFitNow check-in and GetFitNow member, this is how these are connected. Are like these were folders inside of folders inside of folders. They're not really like folders inside of folders inside of folders. They're more like they're more like entries in different tables inside of a big database. Basically, yeah, you could say that they're kind of like files inside of folders, and each table is represented by like a folder. You might be able to take a look at you might be able to see it like that. And this is the last table that we need to link together. I need to reset my music. Okay. So we're going to take a look at the query that'll retrieve the name of the murderer, but I'd like you to try to do it yourself first. Okay, so use all the information here. We already know how the tables are linked together, on which tables are joined on which columns. But if you're able to find the name of the murderer, please type it in the chat. Meanwhile, I'll be trying to slowly piece this together myself. We're going to select person.name from person. So the great thing about this particular web page is that we're able to separate the information on different lines. So WiredMeIRL says, what are common or professional uses of SQL in real life? Well, SQL is used whenever people are dealing with large databases, because SQL is the de facto language that most applications use when they're making use of databases. So a lot of people, their job is to just retrieve stuff from databases and send it along, well, as part of their job duties. As well, SQL databases are used a lot inside of web app applications. So when we're doing web app hacking, we encounter SQL databases a lot as well. So there's so learning about SQL is an important thing. Is an important thing to learn as part of learning about web app hacking. Okay, so from person, where was I? So from person, we're going to join. Can you explain in a literal form what is a database? A database is a repository of information. So inside of databases, you've got a lot of information about specific things. So we saw that inside of the person table, it's basically a bunch of information about different people, a bunch of different statistics, like maybe their age, their gender, their hair color, their height, and these are all grouped together inside of one particular table, and a bunch of different tables make up a database. So we're joining database of people, number, names of peoples, yeah, just all the information about a specific subject. So I'm going to join getFitNow member. Oops. Hold on, did my web page break? I might have to, I'm going to wait for this. Okay, I'm gonna reload this page. This page seems to be running kind of slow today. Is it possible for you to wait a bit for me to go to the bathroom? You feel free to go to the bathroom. If you miss anything, you can always scrub back in the YouTube viewer and see if you. I don't think you're going to miss much. We're basically going to be coming up with our SQL query right now. Okay, so this is it's complicated, but this is how we set up the query that is going to reveal the murderer. We have to select person name from person, and we did join these different tables on these particular columns right here. I'll paste this into chat for the people that are playing along at home. This is where we use all of the where and. So we're where, and we're going to use lower in this case because we don't know the capitalization of the gold membership, and that's going to be getFitNow member dot membership status. So this is going to return, because we don't know if it's spelled gold with a capital G or not. And here we're going to do the check-in date, which is the date that Annabelle specified to us. So it's going to be 2018-0109, and that's going to be getFitNow check-in dot check-in date Hachi says, "Oh, that's what I was missing. I have the answer now." So if you have the answer, go ahead and paste in the name of the murderer in chat, just so we know that that you've done it. Okay, so and we also have to do the driver's license and plate number. And in this case, we have to use like because we don't have the exact value. And we're going to surround this with wildcard characters. Hachi has identified the murderer. Good job, Hachi. H42W. And the last thing we need to do is the membership ID. So get bitnow member.id, and it's going to be like 48Z, and then a wildcard because it said they told us that it started with this number. And with all that done, we can return this. Wired Me IRL says, I love the fact that you use a frog. The frog is nice. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, you know, I like to make it as friendly as possible, and the frog makes it more friendly. So we run this, and we get the name Jeremy Bowers right here. Okay, so the thing is that in order to identify, in order to confirm the name of the murderer, we can go down to the bottom of the web page. So check your solution right here. Did you find the killer? So what we need to do is we need to insert the name right here, and then we need to run it. And we get the value here. Congrats, you have found the murderer, but wait, there's more. If you're up for the challenge, try querying the interview transcript of the murderer to find the real villain behind the crime. If you're especially confident in your SQL skills, try to complete this final step with no more than 2 queries. Use the same insert statement with your new suspect to check your answer. Okay, so just to speed this up, I'm going to give you guys the query to get the statement from Jeremy Bowers. So if we run this, we get the statement from the murderer Jeremy Bowers. I was hired by a woman with a lot of money. I don't know her name, but I know she's around 5'5" or 5'7", so 65 inches to 67 inches. She has red hair and drives a Tesla Model S. I know that she attended the SQL Symphony concert 3 times in December 2017. Okay, so the last thing that we need to do is identify the mastermind. And we're told the following information. So the gender is female, the income is high, and by high, we're going to do more than 300,000. And the height is 65 to 67 inches. The hair color is red. The car make and car model is Tesla Model S. And the event attended is SQL Symphony concert in December 2017. Wired Me IRL says, the thing we use on have no items to interpolate and use join is like folders that have something. It's like connecting and communicating a bunch of databases. So join on, using both of those keywords, it's not connecting different databases, it's connecting different tables. So you can think of the database as the biggest thing, and inside the database there are a bunch of tables, which are smaller things, and inside of tables there are columns and rows, which are the smallest things. Okay, so I'm going to copy this to the chat, so you guys have this for reference. So the following tables and columns are involved in the query. So there's going to be all of this stuff right here. I'm going to paste it in the chat for you. Hopefully we can solve this before everybody before it gets too late. So it's all of these things which I pasted in the chat for y'all to look at. And we look at the RD, we have to join the following tables. I think there are 3 tables involved here. So it's going to be person.ssn equals income.ssn. And then it is so it's database, and then it goes to table, and then it goes to columns, and then it goes to rows, and then it goes to individual entry, which is like it's kind of like a cell inside of the Excel spreadsheet. And this is the last thing we have to join, person.id, and then the Facebook stuff. So if you're able to identify the mastermind, and if you're able to identify the mastermind by running your SQL query, please paste the name of the mastermind in chat so we know that you've done it. So just to speed up the process, I'm going to paste in the first part of the SQL query right over here. Which is this right here. And we're going to first do Facebook event check-in name. Okay, so that's the first criteria, and we need to do the hair color from the license from the driver's license table. So we don't know the capitalization of the hair color, so we're going to do lower in this case. And next we're going to get the gender from the driver's license. And next we're going to get so the height. So in the case of the height, we need to use the between and in order to get the so we need to do this right here. I'm going to paste it in the chat for you guys. So like fictionally or not speaking, like the things like social security number of yeah, so these are all made up. So you don't have to worry about real people's information being leaked out there. So this is what we need to do for height, and then we need to do the car. So this gets this is also from driver's license. So most of this is from driver's license. Oops. Driver's license got car make. and that's going to be a Tesla. And the car model is going to be Model S. And the last thing is, what is the where? So we started off with where, and you can start with any one of these. In this case, we started off with the Facebook check-in event name, and then we added a bunch of ands in order to narrow down the search even more. Okay, and the last thing we're going to do is the income. And we're going to do greater than 300,000. Okay, so with all of this said and done, we've created a very complex query right here, and it's like encryptographed. I'm not sure what an encryptographed is. I'm sorry. Let's look up what encryptographed means. Just really quickly. Okay, well, ChatGPT doesn't know what it is. Can you tell me what language that is? But before we let's answer the question of who the mastermind is. Okay. All right, so we see that the name of the mastermind appears 3 times, and that's because the person attended the SQL Symphony concert 3 times. And in this case, the mastermind's name is Miranda Priestley. So we can check our solution by pasting the name of the mastermind into the checker solution box. Okay, and it says, congrats, you found the brains behind the murder. Everybody in SQL City hails you as the greatest SQL detective of all time. Time to break out the champagne. It loads less things, not the whole thing. I misspelled a lot. That's okay. That's okay. If you want to, encrypted, I'm still not sure what that word means. Okay, so let's look over what we learned in today's workshop. So we learned about structured query language, SQL. The structured query language, encrypted. Encrypted, yes. Okay, I do understand that. So it's a programming language used for managing data held in relational databases. So relational databases are databases where data in one table in the database can be connected to data in another table in the database. So the select command is common to all SQL queries looking to return specific info from the database. And the where filter allows for very specific information to be returned by a query. Join queries. In order for SQL queries to return information from more than one table, the join keyword must be used to connect all the tables involved. Okay, so how does this connect to web app hacking? Well, in the next workshop, we're going to be covering how using SQL queries can lead into web app hacking. In the next HackerFrogs AfterSchool Web App Exploitation workshop, we're going to learn about SQL injection vulnerabilities with the TryHackMe platform. Let's see, WiredMeIRL says, oh, insert, add a new database or information. Well, you can use SQL queries in a malicious way to get information or data that you shouldn't. There are also certain SQL functions that you can use inside the database in order to break out of the SQL program and get information from other parts of the computer system. So if we're looking for more study material on the workshop's topics, today, if anybody is still here from Black Girls Hack, it would really help me out if you could fill in the survey for me at this link over here that I pasted in the chat. Let them know if you enjoyed the if you enjoyed today's workshop, or if you didn't. This is how they know if I'm doing a good job or not. But yeah, before we finish off today's stream, I'd like everybody to know that I run a YouTube channel. It's called The Shy Hat, and we host all of our videos for our HackerFrogs AfterSchool topics. We've got 3 topics such as web app hacking, our green series of videos on web app hacking, our blue series of videos on Python programming, and our red series of videos on Linux OS operations. So all of this can be found at the address that I'm going to. So rnurder says we can make a SQL virus. It's not necessarily a virus, but it is. We can use SQL injection to take advantage of vulnerable systems. But we're going to be going over that next week. It's going to be on Monday at about the same time as we started today's workshop. I'd love to see everybody here next week at the same time, and we're going to be covering SQL injection. But yeah, we also have a Reddit. So it is reddit.com/r/HackerFrogs. You have a Discord. We do have a Discord server. We don't really use it too much. We use the Reddit more. So if you have any questions about beginner cybersecurity, please feel free to post to the Reddit, the HackerFrogs Reddit. We have a bunch of different topics, including our stream schedules every week when we post a schedule about that tells everybody what we're going to stream and on what days. And we have a bunch of different posts with beginner-friendly cybersecurity topics. And where to find different learning materials, like this one on free interactive Python programming links, and this one over here on low-level programming language resources. So WiredMeIRL says, "Oh, it must be a very good thing to know security when programming." Yeah, mostly programmers try not to think too much about security when they are programming unless they really have to. But the unfortunate thing is that if you don't think about security while you're programming, you'll think about security after you're done programming. That's the thing. But everybody, thank you very much for coming to today's live stream. We're going to be back on Wednesday. So on Wednesday, we're going to do another live stream where we talk about all the challenges from the PicoCTF. So PicoCTF has been going on for the last 2 weeks, and it can be found at picoctf.org. We're going to be talking about all the challenges from the PicoCTF event, PicoCTF 2024, on Wednesday. I hope to see you there. We're going to be going over all the challenges. So if you were solving any challenges, or if you had any that you weren't too sure about, we're going to be talking about the solutions to a lot of different challenges on Wednesday at around the same time. So it's going to be 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see you there. And yeah, everybody, thank you very much for coming by and watching today. We'll be back on Wednesday. Have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you next time.